I don't remember how I introed my last video, but welcome to Aries season and welcome to the first Aries mix on my channel. Today we're going to be mixing together Lunar Tide's True Lust with their Blood Moon. So I decided I thought it would be fun to do my own mix for each zodiac sign. And I started with Pisces because I am a Pisces. So I have my swatches labeled 1 through 12, but that is not synonymous with hair levels. I do pictures and close-ups near the end of the video, so the numbers just help us keep track of each swatch. Number 1 is a gray, 2 is green. I wanted to see how well the red would cover the green. I think it'll do pretty well based off of my other videos, but red and green are across from each other on the color wheel, so that's why. Number 3 is a natural red. 4 is black, and then from 4 to 11 is arranged to platinum blonde, and then number 12 is like a toned version of number 11. Also, these are human hair, but they are not all virgin hair. In fact, the only one that is virgin hair is the number 4 black swatch. The rest have been chemically dyed or bleached at some point in their existence. So when I do my mix videos, I like to do darker on top and lighter at the bottom. So I'm going to give a little bit of a sneak peek. This is Blood Moon, and this is True Lust. I decided for the top half, we're going to do an equal part, which is going to be this. And since Blood Moon is a little bit darker than True Lust, I wanted to try a smaller ratio of Blood Moon to True Lust. This will be a 4-to-1 ratio with mostly True Lust. Since we're mixing together two different reds, I just wanted to show this so you can see the undertone differences. I will be doing comparisons later in the video, where I will compare Blood Moon and True Lust by themselves to our mix, but I thought that little preview would help you visualize. So like I said, top half is going to be equal parts of Blood Moon and True Lust. So if you were born between March 20th and April 19th, roughly, you are more than likely an Aries. If you were born on either of those dates and you're not really sure what your sign is because, when you look into it, usually websites will give a rough date to when each sign starts. That's because each year it is a little bit different. But if you have your birth time, I would recommend going on a website like astro.com. You can get a birth chart, or otherwise known as a natal chart, made, and that will tell you whether you are an Aries, a Pisces, or a Taurus, depending which two you're in between. So basically, depending on when the sun goes into Aries, because astrology does rely heavily on degrees, so the moment the sun goes into Aries, that would be 0 degrees Aries. I don't even know where I'm going with that. Point is, you could be born at midnight, March 20th, and be a Pisces, and then someone else could be born at 5 a.m. March 20th, and they could be an Aries. In fact, this year, at least Central Standard Time, which is my time zone, Aries begins around 4:40 in the morning on March 20th. For the second mixture, like I said, it's going to be a 4-to-1 ratio, so that is 4 parts of True Lust to 1 part Blood Moon. As an Aries, you've probably noticed that you're always associated with the color red. And some people don't really understand why zodiac signs are associated with certain colors, so I just thought I'd go through the reasons why I believe each sign, is associated with the color. And red for Aries, to me, makes a lot of sense. Maybe you're sick of the red, and I get it. Well, for my first cycle going through all the signs, I wanted to stick to more basic colors for each sign, and that's why I chose red. So as you may already know, Aries is a fire sign. So they are known for being very passionate people. On top of that, they're ruled by Mars. And fun fact, actually, Mars is the Roman version of the Greek god named Aries. It was not spelt the same, but it is Aries. And Aries is the god of war. And of course, things like war, passion, even aggression, all tend to be associated with the color red. And doesn't help that Aries is also a fire sign. So together, red is just the perfect color for Aries. And my rising sign is actually Aries. So I am a Pisces sun, Aries rising. And I'll wait to tell you my moon sign when we get to that sign. All right, I'm going to let these sit for about 3 hours. I will then rinse them out, and when they're dry, I'll meet you back here and we'll do some comparisons with Blood Moon and True Lust by themselves. They both are pretty pigmented on their own, so that just makes sense that mixed together they're obviously just as pigmented. I'd say 5 and 6 still look brown, but with like a red undertone. And then at 7, it kind of starts to look closer to an actual red and a little less brown. Starting at 9, it starts to look closer to what I assume the truer tone is meant to look like. The number 1 swatch has a slightly more berry look to it, but it's very, very slight. Like having the gray under the red just makes it look a little bit more cool toned. 2 was the green. On both the top and the bottom, it looks like it came out almost like a more natural red. So the red and the green didn't neutralize each other out completely. And the number 3 swatch looks like it'd be kind of close to number 6, maybe in between 6 and 7. Now, I won't lie, I'm a little afraid that these won't look very much different from the dyes before, like not mixed together. But regardless, I did have a request to mix these together. And I was already planning on mixing them together for the Aries mix, so even if you're not interested in it being Aries related, you'll at least know whether it's worth it or not to mix them together. So we'll go from the top down. Top is a little bit darker, so we'll start our comparisons with Blood Moon. This is comparable to number 12. This is comparable to number 11, number 10, and number 9. Okay, so it looks to me like the Blood Moon by itself already is darker, so adding in that true lust helps to brighten it up a little bit. And especially on the diluted section, you can see just slightly more orangey undertone in the Blood Moon, of which the true lust kind of makes it look closer to a more true red in the mixture. I would say the Blood Moon is very true to its name. To me, it almost looks like blood that has oxidized a little bit. So I would say if you don't really like the color that Blood Moon turns out to be when you dilute it, but you still want it to be a little bit lighter, adding the True Lust might actually help, even if you just use a little bit. But you will lose some of that like orangier tone if that's what you like about Blood Moon. All right, now we can compare True Lust from Lunar Tides. This is comparables number 12, number 11, number 10, and number 9. So as for the top half with a little bit less True Lust, it obviously does look a little bit darker than True Lust on its own. And I don't know if you can tell on camera, but in person, now that it's compared to True Lust, you can actually see a little bit more glimmer of that more rusty tone from the Blood Moon. But I will say it's not super apparent. It's just having the swatch next to a truer red makes it a little bit more apparent. So essentially, if you like True Lust, I do also recommend using Blood Moon to maybe darken it up instead of black. All right, and then I wanted to move these swatches down since the bottom has more True Lust than the top does. And I feel like this is a little bit harder to tell the difference. But again, it's very, very minute. I don't even know if you'll be able to tell on camera, but there is just a slightly more orangey undertone in the bottom half. But otherwise, they look pretty much the same. Like the Blood Moon didn't really deepen it up that much. More so just kind of changed the undertone very slightly, which makes sense. They're both very pigmented. I assumed for some reason that Blood Moon was a little bit more pigmented because it was darker, but clearly the True Lust can hold its own. All right, so now I'd like to get into some before and after clips. Those, as well as any pictures I'll do at the end, will all be done in natural lighting. I hope this video helped. If you have a request, I do have a link below to a Google form you can fill out. Just remember, I only do dyes that do not test on animals. Thank you to my patrons, and thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.